Hey guys, it's Leesh, and welcome to another episode of Car Confessions. Listen, it is Wednesday. What is today? June 6th? Is it 6th? Am I jumping the gun? What's today's date? Anyway, it's Wednesday, June 5th. Aha, yes, June 5th. Wednesday, June 5th. I can't believe that we're already 5 days into June, but here we are. This year's like zooming by. Like, here we go. Another person just risking their lives. Like, what is happening? Um, anyway, yeah, I can't believe it's June 5th already. And I feel like we have lived at least 5 years within this time frame of 2024. I mean, am I the only one that feels that way? Like, what the hell is happening? So much going on. At the same time, it's like, when do we get a break from all the things? When do we get some rest? I don't know. But how are you all doing? What's happening? What's going on with you all? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're doing well. I can't talk. Um, yeah, I'm just leaving work. And, you know, it's so funny. I always joke and laugh with my wife about this, but I'm just like, once I get through the first day of the week, Monday, and working, I'm just like, okay, I did it. I worked. I showed up. Like, isn't that enough? Like, why do I have to keep doing this? And it's like I said, it's one thing if I hated my job, but I don't. I like my job. I like the people I work with. I love the kids, like the whole nine, but I'm exhausted. And I know y'all are exhausted. I've talked to several people about this. And listen, and for those who aren't, God bless you. But it's like this exhaustion that is beyond like, oh, you're not getting enough rest, you're not eating properly. It is just soul, like deep down in the soul exhaustion. Oh, excuse me, y'all. And I think I had talked about this. Oh, they're taking pictures over here. Very nice. Um, I spoke about this at one point. Um, Actually, I probably spoke about this a few times, but I think with everything that's going on in the world, um, we are all just like, okay, what is next? Because I feel like that's just kind of like where we are with all this. What's going to happen next? What other shoe is going to fall? Is it shoe that falls? Well, you know what I'm saying. What are we going to, wake up to tomorrow and find out? I mean, it was one thing going through COVID, right? And waking up and be like, oh my God, what did this president do this time? What is happening with people? Like, are people still, dying in masses? Like, what I'm saying? Like, so it's always like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I feel like we have never left that state of emergency, right? And urgency, and everything's breaking news. And it's like, oh my gosh, you won't believe. But a lot of these breaking news and oh my gosh, you won't believe are things that are just tragic a lot of times. Few wins and things, but overall, it's just like, oh, another issue, another thing where people aren't looking out for each other and, looking for the demise of another one, death to someone. Like, it's crazy. It is bananas. And as much as I try to look away, it's hard to look away, right? Because, like, I want to be informed. I need to be informed. And it's just like, do I need to be informed of everything? I don't know. What am I going to do with all this information? I don't know. But I do feel like I need to be in the know. Um, but I also am wrestling with this idea. Wrestling, because it's something that I've not really done my whole life, which is rest. I'm always on the go. I'm always moving, always grooving. My mother was the same way. And so that's where I learned this behavior. Um, if you're not doing something, you're being lazy, you're not productive, the whole nine. Um, and so I started reading this book, and I don't know if I told y'all about this or not, but it's called, I'm looking at it because it's on my screen here in my phone, in my car. It's called Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto, and it's by Trisha Hersey. And Trisha Hersey created what's called the NAP Ministry. And, I don't want to butcher, the whole meaning behind it, but basically, from what I know about the NAP ministry, and the reason why she started this actual ministry was because of the fact that we are always moving, going, particularly Black women. I mean, we're just on to the next thing, trying to do everything, and not getting any rest, and feeling like our self-worth is all bundled up in how much we produce and how much we do each and every day. And and I know there are other people beyond Black women that do this, but being Black women, we have seen, particularly in this country, where Black women are the ones who have to step up and fix things and make things happen, and whatever else. And it's exhausting. And I don't think people even think about how exhausted Black women are. In order to just live in this country, right? And remotely be able to just sort of thrive. I guess thriving to American standards, which is like grinding, this whole idea of grind culture. Guys, people are driving insane today. What is happening? Um, it's too much. Like, it's way too much, guys. And so she created this whole ministry around the idea of just rest and taking naps and doing this in a way of resistance, as it relates to what we know as our everyday hustle and bustle, the grind culture, you know, um, the early bird catches the worm and all that kind of crazy shit. I'll sleep when I die. Like, she quotes all these things in the book. And as she's like going through all this stuff and just talking about the reasons for rest and just kind of like removing yourself from social media or any type of like devices and looking at all these platforms and like overwhelming yourself with, all this information, the idea of resting and to become a daydreamer again, and, really give your body the opportunity to, you know, become rejuvenated, so you can actually enjoy this life. It's amazing. Like, it's an amazing book, and I'm not done with it yet. I'm actually there. Like, it's in parts, and I'm heading into the part 3, which is called Resist. I think part 1 was Rest, part 2 was um, Dream, and now we're at Resist. And I never thought in my life that rest was that crazy important. Like, I would, even as a kid, like, I would be fighting sleep. One, because I was nosy. I wanted to know what the hell was going on all the time. If I'm asleep, I won't know what the hell's going on. So I've got to stay awake. So this has always been a part of who I am. Just constantly just trying to be in the know, try to know what the hell's happening. Don't want to be left out. You know, FOMO has been a part of me as long as I can remember. But that's a whole other conversation. But all that to say, being in a space where I am learning, and it's going to be a journey. It's not something that's going to I'm going to just snap out of this whole grind culture, because to some degree it's addictive. Like, it's addicting to grind. And for those of you who probably like, what? Like, why? Like, why do you want to work so hard? I grew up thinking the more that I grind, the better off I would be in this society. Then on top of that, being a Black person and being told in your home that you had to work, 10 times, 100 times, whatever, as hard as the average white person in order to even succeed. All that pressure on you, and then you do it. It's like, wow, if I can do this, what else can I do? And now I'm learning that the other thing that I can do is actually rest. And that's not been easy. Reading this book is definitely helping me understand that. But then you see and you deal with all the things in everyday life, and you're like, oh my gosh, am I behind? Am I behind on doing this, this project or whatever that looks like, right? I'm in the process of starting my a coaching business where I will help those with multiple sclerosis, with energy levels and just overall just well-being of their lives. And it's been a slow process because there's so many things that I have to unravel as a person in order to be a business owner and to run this program and to help those that are in need of these types of services. And also realizing that there's no timeline for me to actually really launch this program. Because initially I was just like, boom, boom, guns a blazing, gotta get done, gotta do, right? Gotta do this, gotta do that. If I don't do all these things, I'm not successful. And my body, it's not even like me, because if it was the old me, because I'm like breaking out of that old way. If it were the old me, I would have had that program up. I'd be seeing clients. I'd be doing all the things, right? But my body's like, no, we need to chill. We don't need anything else to do. And that's been my battle back and forth, back and forth. Like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? We're not going to be successful. People are going to forget about us. This program's going to flop because I'm not doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, which is grind, 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 advertise, advertise, advertise to actually make it work. And as my body's rejecting it, right? All this grind mentality. I'm also thinking about my program, and there's parts of my program where I talk about this. Like, rest is essential in order to maintain proper energy levels. Sleep is essential in order to maintain proper energy levels. Um, Removing yourself from social media at certain points of the day, especially right before you're going to bed, there should be a certain time frame where you have like actually given your mind the opportunity to start winding down. I'm supposed to be teaching these things, right? And here I am in the midst of all this craziness, doing things that I am telling other people not to do, right? And at one point in my life, that was like my priority, especially when I was really trying to um, manage my heightened MS symptoms. It was really bad at one point in my life with my MS. If you listen to the podcast, I've talked about, my multiple sclerosis diagnosis and how I am now thriving with multiple sclerosis. But it took me to change the way I did a lot of things in my life, the way I ate, the way I dealt with people in terms of toxic situations, stress reduction, exercise, sleep, incorporating more water and fruits and the whole thing. I had to completely rework my whole life, and it has completely changed me in ways that I can't even imagine, or even describe rather. And it's been an amazing journey, but it required me to undo a lot of things that I thought were actually benefiting me in this life. And so all that to say, I am now in a whole other journey of figuring out how to unlearn this whole idea that grind culture is the only way to succeed. Um, it's not been easy because I'm 46, right? Like, this is all I've ever known. People around me, like most people in my family, have more than one job. I myself have more than one job. I don't mind working, especially when I know that, I need money, right? You gotta survive here in the United States of America, and survival requires, money among other things, but mainly money. And the way most people, not everybody, but the way most people acquire money here is by giving your time to wherever, right? Wherever you're working, and possibly providing some type of manual labor or whatever skill set. You're giving all that for, in exchange of money. And I'm learning how to reshape my thinking around how I obtain money, right? And also realizing that money isn't everything, and there are ways to still live and thrive and be by just being you, by just, me being me. Um, and not succumbing to that um, mentality of, oh, I must have all this, I must do all this work, in order for me to just quote unquote survive and live and basically, just survive. I mean, 'cause the idea of like just really, really thriving financially in the United States, especially right now, I mean, if you're in that space, God bless you. But for most people, we're just trying to figure it out day to day, and at the same time, not lose our minds. Um, and so I'm thankful that I am reading. I have this opportunity to read this book and really detach myself from this scarcity mindset of like, oh my gosh, I gotta get money because if I don't get it now, who knows when I'll get it again? I gotta work all these hours because who knows what'll happen. It's like, no, reframe that. Like, have faith, radical faith, as Trisha Hersey talks about it. I think she talks about it in part 2, which is the dream section. Just talking about having radical faith in ways of not stressing yourself so much about this whole, oh my gosh, I've got to work, I've got to make all this money and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's either going to be you're crazy stressed out, working yourself to death, or you're finding ways to find peace and just trusting and knowing, especially if you're someone of, if you're someone who believes in, a higher power, God, whatever, universe, knowing that the universe, God, is here to take care of you, and you're going to, be all right. And it's not always going to be picture perfect in terms of what we have been accustomed to believing is, picture perfect in this American society. Um, but it's overall, not everybody, and I'm not, because I don't want to, take away from anybody's experience, but for the most part, most people in America are safe. Most, not all, have some type of housing, are able to get something to eat. Um, you might not be the, the finest of the finest, right? But we will be okay. The majority of us, right? Um, so it's finding new ways of learning and trying to resist this stressful scarcity mentality around how to just live, and really just sitting with being you and allowing that to be enough, and knowing rest is a part of that process as well. It's so beautiful, but at the same time it's pretty scary. But yeah, I'm tired. I am tired. I'm tired of working. I am tired of this, grind, work, work, work until you fall apart type of mentality. I want to live. I want to enjoy this life, whatever that looks like for me. And that's another thing I loved about this book. She talks about that too, is that everyone's idea around rest and, finding that peace is not the same. Everyone has a different way of doing this and finding their way with this, and that's okay. So that's beautiful to know as well. It's just wild that it's taken me this long in my life to know that I am meant for more than just going to a job each and every day. That's not all of who I am. That doesn't define me. And like I said before, I love my job. I love working where I work. I love all the things about it. Well, there's always some stuff. Let's be serious. But even still, I want to get out. I want to spend time during the day outside. And I mean time, not just, oh, quick 30 minutes, oh, back in. I want to enjoy the day. I want to be able to just sit out in the sunshine, look at the animals that are just living their best little lives, doing whatever the heck they're doing, right? I want to have that opportunity. And I just feel like we are so robbed of that. We are robbed of the opportunity of just being. And so thank you, Trisha Hershey, wherever you are, for this book and for the Nap Ministry and for opening my eyes to another way of living and being. And I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep doing what I can to resist this grind culture and be an example for those that are around me to understand and know that this isn't normal. This isn't normal, guys. Us working ourselves to death, it's not normal. And it's not right. And slowly but surely, I feel like people are opening their eyes to that and seeing that life is meant to be lived and enjoyed and not to work and have your profession define who you are. You're so much more than that, right? And it's great to know that and to discover that, because who knows what you can do by just letting go of just that, oh, my job, my job, my job, and exploring and being creative and, rest more, enjoy your family. Like, there's so much that can be done in this life. And I'm just tired of being robbed of it. Full stop. So, yeah. Well, guys, I'm home. I'll go upstairs, cook for my folks, and enjoy them as much as I can. And like I always say, y'all, let's just keep on keeping on. All right. I love you. And I will see y'all next week. All right. I love you.